Me guess Aji Edwana mze menyaji papa oye penin kese pa a owo oman Ghana mu a yeboni dia obia enim no se wonnim ne dia na bia afei na waba oman Ghana mu se wonnim na ene ye de ne be kirew mo a monsa ka flyer no e social media no me gidi se mudu do na munim eye papa yi na there is no other person than Dr. Sakara Foster. Year 2012 presidential election na ono the CPP presidential candidate. Mjidi se mumudu do na mutie aye debate no mumudu do na ebon sem ema no san se o flow e pa. Na ene ye be poto esan se libre aba. Enti mo a poto kasa no eye den kakra no mesre se mode be che na yetimi akoye ni. Doc, you are welcome to the Seat Show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
We are happy to have you.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
By God's grace.
And business?
Well, we're okay. Managing.
You are managing. Now everybody is a manager.
Everybody is managing, surviving.
You used to come to this place, but it stopped. What happened?
Oh, I think...
Am I right? You used to come here?
No, in the early stages.
Yes.
I think that was between 2008 and 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to come here, and, of course, after I left the CPP, I started the National Interest Movement.
National Interest Movement.
And basically we were looking at how to identify the impediments
to
the country's progress, devoid of politics. So it is that highlighted some of the key constraints that we're facing. Some requiring attitudinal changes, some requiring constitutional changes, and nonetheless, they all require us to approach the problem at a more fundamental level. And this is what led us to seeking, having identified those items, how can we get a broad mass of people together so that we can champion this? And we were very fortunate to have a number of organizations who joined us first in the Ghana First Coalition and then later on in an alliance with the Movement for Change.
We'll come there. Are you a politician?
I'm at heart a technocrat because I spent most of my life as a technocrat. Of course, everybody is a politician because who is a politician? He's the person who makes decisions about the resource allocation of the country. And you cannot be in a boat with crocodiles in the water and say you don't care how the boat is paddled.
Exactly. So you were a member of the Convention People's Party, am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you mentioned National Interest Movement, the very objectives of National Interest Movement. You don't think you could have been in the CPP to champion these attitudinal, constitutional, and all those changes? Why would you want to form another entity to pursue these objectives?
Well, one of the reasons is because we came to see that partisan politics has subsumed the national interest. So if you are within and your interests are primarily the partisan pursuits, how will you then pursue the national interest? So we decided that no, we needed a different model, a different vehicle, where the primary interest will be what is in the interest of the nation, Ghana first. And then we can tackle the problems head on. Yes. So that gave us the leverage to be able also to work beyond party lines, beyond traditional party lines, to be able to embrace other people, other Ghanaians, who believe that, yes, indeed, the time has come for us to move along the national interest with Ghana first as our primary consideration. So
Ghana first. Honorable Kennedy Agyapong is seen as somebody who is a proponent for that particular term, Ghana first. I think it played a central role in the recent past MPP presidential elections. How the country is going now? Before that, are you an Alpha Frontal?
No, I am a national interest movement member.
The NIM.
Yes, and we have joined together. There are 10 of us who have come together.
10 of you?
Yeah, with the national, with the movement for change to form the alliance.
Okay.
So you can see here, actually, I'll just mention them so that people don't think I've ignored anybody.
Okay.
We have Bishop Samuel Mensah from the Ghana First Coalition.
Okay.
And then we have...
So this composition is what?
This is the composition of the alliance.
The alliance, that is the national interest movement.
No,
and
the alliance that includes Movement for Change and all these organizations.
Okay, good.
Okay?
All right.
So we have Bishop Samuel Mensah, Ghana First Coalition, Mr. Samuel Ampofo, the Ghana National Party, Mr. Henry Asante, the National Second Vice Chairman, PNC, Mrs. Augustina Kujo, Third Force Movement, Dr. Zaya Yebo, who is the convener of the People's Democratic Movement, Reverend Stephen Ayenso, the Ghana Green Party, and then Professor Raymond Atugba, who is also a member of the National Interest Movement, and Mr. Kwesi Adai, or DK, who is the union government. And of course, you have myself, and then from NIM, and then Mr. Alan Chimanting from Movement for Change. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are those who form the Movement for Change.
These are the ones who form the Alliance for Revolutionary Change.
For Revolutionary Change. Alliance, change, that's what I was looking for.
Yes, Alliance for Revolutionary Change.
Okay.
The Movement for Change is
Honorable Alan Chimanting's baby. Okay.
Yes.
So Movement for Change is part of the Alliance for Revolutionary.
Indeed. It is the convener. He is the convener, and we are the co-conveners of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Yes.
Doc, let me ask you. You mentioned that one of the reasons that made you form the national interest movement is because of how partisan we do our things. We're speaking now, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, His Excellency. If he appoints you in a particular position, would you accept it?
No, I think first of all, I am not so hungry for appointment that I will come 4 months to the close of the show. What am I going to achieve in that period? But that is not the issue. The issue is that any government that offers any Ghanaian a position to serve and is prepared for the person to serve to the maximum of their capacity and be effective, the Ghanaians should serve, because we are serving the government of Ghana. It is not the government of the MPP. This is the often misunderstood thing. In the UK, people move across, they serve, from different parties. In America, too, different people from different parties can serve in the same government. Are you with me? And they don't even make any bones about it. But here, it's like you have abandoned your tribe. You're a traitor. Are you with me? And that is because the partisanship, to some extent, and this is an important point to emphasize. Don't forget that we are a new nation. 67 years.
Ghana is a new nation.
67 years in the life of, because nations last hundreds of years.
Exactly.
Years. Now, at 67 years, you're comparing yourself to somebody who's been around for 500 years. You're a baby. You're still wearing nappies. Are you with me? So some of the attitudes that we have adopted are those of, a young nation, people in a young nation who have not yet grasped, fully the importance of nationhood and how it affects the way they conduct themselves in the nation. We are also coming from societies which pre-independent, no matter who you are, Professor so-so-so, if you go to a Hinfie, you go and sit quietly in your corner.
Exactly.
You've entered a medieval presence, so you take your place, because that we do is our own fault. Part of it is because we do not recognize the fact of where we are to change the structure and architecture of the country in order for us to move faster. And this is one of the things we identified in the national interest movement. And because we have got affinity to our clans and our fiefdoms, we are trying to transfer that affinity to our political parties, as if they are also tribes.
That's
are you with me?
Yeah.
So we have to abandon that. And you know, Ghana has not undergone an industrial revolution. The Europeans used to be like that. The Scots, the Welsh, etc. They all used to be tribalistic like that, hanging onto their various areas. Then the Industrial Revolution came. And what does the Industrial Revolution do for a nation? Time communities. Those bonds between people are broken, and then, you know, new bonds are formed, and you then develop a cosmopolitan society, and there are new rules where you work in the framework of a nation. So again, that industrial revolution has not will happen.
It has to happen.
It has to happen. As for change, you will never stop change. The question is whether you are going to ride on the change or it is going to drag you along. If you prepare yourself mentally, figure out how the change is going to come, and position yourself, when the change is coming, you ride on it.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Okay.
And you get to your destination faster and you can control it.
Okay.
But if you're not ready, it will pull you along anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Doc, I have here the Great Transformational Plan. Are you privy to this? Were you part
yes.
of coming out with this?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it means that I can ask you questions
anything
in this.
about
But before we come here,
yes.
The MPP, the NDC, they all have manifestos. And they sell the manifestos to us before we vote them into office. I don't know if you can call this a manifesto anyway.
No.
If
This
it
is a policy framework.
This is a policy framework.
Yeah.
Okay.
That organizes. Okay, carry on.
Okay. What I want to find out from you is that do you foresee the alliance making any meaningful impact, given the fact that a political party that has existed for so many years, like your own, am I right to say former CPP, because you are no longer a member of the CPP, has struggled to even be considered as the third force in Ghana. Do you think that your alliance may make any meaningful impact as far as 2024 elections are concerned?
Yes.
Okay. How?
Definitely. You see, I was explaining to you
Good.
that we are a country in the process of development. You also have to look at the global trends. Now,
What's happening elsewhere?
you see everywhere that established duopolies are collapsing, and independent candidates are emerging. New parties formed are emerging. And if those people who are students of politics, you know, according to Division's law, that in a multi-party democracy, it gravitates towards duopoly.
Exactly.
And that duopoly becomes stagnant after a period.
Okay.
And no longer responds to the people.
Okay.
And at that point, new entities emerge and a new political landscape is formed. Have we not seen that in our duopoly? It has stopped responding to the people. Have we not been calling for certain things which have not been delivered? So already you see the signs there. And when you look also globally, everywhere you see it in the UK elections, you see it in the French elections.
Yeah.
What people are beginning to understand is that farming out my support wholesale to a big party may never get me anywhere. It is better for me to farm it out to a group, are you with me, that believe the same things I believe in and will work for it and will not compromise them, and bring it into the center so that we can also get those things fulfilled in the national agenda. So they've lost confidence in that big party movement. And therefore, you're seeing that options are developing. And that is all that we have been working for until now, that we needed an alternative to the NDC MPP. Not because we don't like them at all, but because we believe that that entity that offers that alternative will be able to achieve more than what they are achieving, because it will offer a new opportunity to look at the situation differently and to also adapt to the challenges differently. So that is basically what it is a political evolution. So our whole objective in going from CPP even to NAME to GFC to ARC now is that we have to find that alternative for this generation. Because this successor generation, as we are now, 67 years after independence, if you ask yourself the question honestly, the vision that we had at independence, the drive that was in the First Republic, laying the foundation to achieve what we are supposed to have done by now, have we, the successor generation, played our part? Considering that we had the advantage of better education, we had the advantage of greater numbers, we had the advantage of exposure all over the world, we had the advantage of a greater proportion of youth. Have we, as a successor generation, can we honestly say, when heaven's door open and we meet Papa Nkrumah and all his colleagues, and they ask us, around here, what can you say?
Who will say that
compared to what they achieved? Are you with me? Compared to what they achieved.
Yeah.
So we, as a successor generation, have to take the matter more seriously and leave the partisan politics behind and begin to look for real alternatives. And for me, that is one of the key things about this great transformation plan. Because in joining the groups to work with it, I realized that this was not just one group of people. These were groups of people, experts from across the political terrain. And their only objective was, what is the problem facing us? And how can we put together our thoughts to present a real, credible solutions that will be alternatives to what we have now? If you don't have that alternative to offer, then don't take part in the election and waste people's time. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that we are clear that if Ghanaians are looking for an alternative to runaway inflation, runaway interest rates, high debt to GP ratio, a constricted economy, more or less collapsed businesses, then this is the business that we should be looking at now, the Great Transformation Plan, because it addresses all those issues and it gives us an opportunity for a new start.
Okay, so interesting. Although for Dr. Michael Abu Sakara Foster a member of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay. ARC. That's how you abbreviate it.
That's correct.
Okay. Your name is nice. Alliance for Revolutionary. You see, normally when you hear the word revolution, people have in mind that you are coming to do some, some things. Are you promising us that is not what you are coming to do?
Well, you see, the stages of reform that lead to revolution, are you with me, are threefold. First, you have to be aware there's a problem.
Okay.
You have to be willing to correct it. And having got the correct solution, you have to be able to convince the general public to embrace it. So that is a revolution.
So is there a problem?
Of course we have problems.
Okay, so what are some of the problems?
Firstly, as a nation, we have identified political problems, social problems, and economic problems. Okay. Right now, this economic problems that are troubling us, we all know. Standard of living, cost of living has gone very high, so high that it has lowered the standard of living of people across the board. People
across the world?
Yes, people across the board.
Across the board. But that's global.
No.
That's global because I can cite many examples and instances. Okay.
Yeah. I'm talking about what is happening now in Ghana.
Okay.
People who were very wealthy have had their wealth reduced significantly. Okay. So their disposable income, they don't dispose of it so quickly. And even some of their money is locked up in the debt exchange. They cannot get it out. They're not getting interest on it. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Then you have the middle income group, where the cost of living has gone up more than fourfold compared to their income. So now they're having to reduce on things that they used to afford. Okay. Are you with me?
That is individuals.
Yes, individuals. Yeah. Everybody that is listening to me knows this in their house. You don't have to go to Harvard Business School to know this.
Of course.
Are you with me?
Of course.
And then, on top of that, the people at the bottom have been squeezed so much that the value of their money is now almost worthless because they cannot buy even the things that they were able to buy.
Okay.
So all these things together are telling you that we have a crisis. And as if that was not enough, the high level of indebtedness of the country, which we all now know is way above what it used to be. We have this argument. We know that the total debt has more than quadrupled. Are you with me? And we know that the debt to GDP ratio has gone very high. Never before have we got to over 100. And now it's coming back down. It's around 76, somewhere like that.
Okay.
Are you with me? Our interest rates have increased. When you look at the structure of the economy, they're only coming down because of injections of loans.
So it's cosmetic.
As soon as that
you,
is
you
over,
think the drastic
yes,
change is cosmetic?
It's not coming from productivity.
Okay.
If you've squeezed all the businesses, they've cut, downgraded. It's coming from injection from outside. So as soon as that effect wears off, it will shoot up again. So it's not a permanent measure. So this basic crisis that we are in requires drastic measures. And that is why in the Great Transformation Plan, we talk about reform, reset, and restore the
Reform,
nation.
reset.
Reform, reset, and restore the nation. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful.
Well, it's
Reform,
it's very pragmatic.
Reset,
Yes.
and then
Restore.
restore.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know, what we need is an alternative path to the one we are on.
No, because alternatives are always good for us.
Yes. The path we are on now is a path of prosperity for a few at the expense of the many. And, you know, it is very easy in the capitalist world to say that, oh, private sector is the driver of the economy.
Engine of growth
Let
and all those things.
everybody for himself, God for us all. But that always results in a very few people having all the wealth and the majority of the people having inequitable wealth, very low levels. It is not a magic. Are you with me? It's not a magic solution because the result is always the same. It is much more difficult to push a development agenda where you're building the middle sector, the middle class up and expanding it, and life is getting better as you lift the people from the bottom into the middle class. You're not stopping the people at the top from going. They can go wherever their resources and ability take them. But that approach is much more difficult.
Okay.
And that requires a much more comprehensive and strategic management of the economy, where you have to look at the clusters that are going to drive growth, those that are going to be providing services, and balance them, because we can only give as much services as we can generate money. And our first priority would be to generate income. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Because that is what we do in our households. You don't go spending, you know, your salary on things that will not bring you money.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is what we have done in this book. And this is why we are confident that when Ghanaians hear these alternatives, that we're not just providing a list of promises in manifestos, are you with me? That we have got a comprehensive plan that is well structured, that looks at critical areas, that has priorities, and that lists the priorities in a cohesive way, and provides interventions that will drive the economy and also provide some services to people. When you see that compared to a list of promises, you will know that there's a difference. Today, I'll mention this because you talked about it.
Yeah.
I was asked by one of the TV stations about the comment that was made on the presentation of the Vision 2050, the NDPC, National Development Planning Commission. They made a vision for 2050, which they presented. It was accepted, and a statement was made that, well, this is good. Are you with me? We accept it, but you know, people must still have their party manifestos. Nobody at any time said that people shouldn't have party manifestos. What we're saying is, let's have a long-term national development plan. That is the policy framework with key goals and targets that are appropriate for every stage of our development for a long period.
Okay.
Then within those segments, are you with me?
Yeah.
You can derive your party manifesto, but align it for that 4-year period you are talking about.
Wonderful.
Don't go plucking oranges when the tree is not yet ripe. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So align it there, and then we can compare who has aligned themselves best with this and who will give us the most achievement of the targets. Basically what we're saying, and what we're saying is that that alignment must be mandatory. Are you with me? In other words,
Yeah.
for you to qualify to even participate in the election,
Yeah.
we must first see that you have aligned your manifesto to that long-term national development plan, the segment for which we are now talking about, and that you show how those things are going to be achieved. And to a large measure, this is what the Great Transformation Plan is doing. Are you with me? It's not just making promises. It is telling you how it is going to be done.
Okay, so have you yourself, you have seen the plan, the NDP plan?
Yes, I have a copy.
Okay, so will you tell us that what is contained there, or this was designed before they presented the plan?
This was designed before they presented it.
Okay, so are you going to,
but let me say one thing.
Okay.
You see, for a developing nation, the things you have to do are not so different because you're building the foundation of the nation. Are you with me? The question is the order of priority and the scope. Are you with me? And where you put your emphasis. So what we are saying is that because those things are fairly basic, we have anticipated a lot of them and have put them in here. Are you with me?
Okay.
I don't think that if you looked at that document and looked at this document, there will be such a huge difference. The difference will come in the interventions to achieve things.
Okay.
Where we say, in order to do this, we must do this first. And that means that whereas that long-term plan may set goals and certain targets for certain stages of development, it is you to determine how that will be done. And within the resources that we have available.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the approach we are advocating. But the key point we are saying is that it should not be optional, where you can say, no, me, I don't want to do it. I'll have my own.
You have no option than to stick to it.
Yes.
Okay.
And people will say, but why? I said, when you go to sit WASI exam, you go with your own exam paper.
No.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
You can choose which questions you want to answer.
Yes.
And you will answer the same questions, number of questions as other people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we all get different marks.
Okay.
And the avoidance of this issue of a long-term national development plan is simply because people don't want to be held to account.
Okay.
That this was the segment, the work you were supposed to have done, are you with me? And you haven't done it. Where's the balance? That is the real issue we are having. Because other than that, all the people that we are admiring every day, you say Malaysia, Singapore, all these places, they all have these long-term national development plans.
Yes.
And they follow them.
Yes.
So why are you different?
And it's helping them.
Why are you different? And what you have been doing, has it helped you? Are you with me?
Okay. Doc, to be fair, the climate change,
Yes.
trade fragmentation, surging financial stress, the China economic slowdown, rising geopolitical tensions and all that have contributed to the world economic crisis that we all talk about, and Ghana is part of it. Would you agree and accept that the problems you are going through as a country is also as a result of all these things I've mentioned?
You see, in this life, there's never black and white alone.
Okay.
Are you with me? Nobody is saying that Ghana did not suffer the effects of COVID.
Okay.
Neither are we saying that Ghana is not part of the global, economic framework. What we are saying is that our response to it, are you with me, has worsened our woes, not improved them.
Okay.
At the time that COVID came, even before COVID, and America was having this economic crisis, what were they doing? They were lowering interest rates, causing money to come in so that they could increase the fiscal space and get people working.
Okay. And what were we doing here?
You were doing the reverse.
Okay. Increasing interest rates.
You were increasing interest rates and tightening up. Are you with me? So basically killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So what other result do you expect? Are you with me?
Yeah.
And then we have to also accept that, yes, it's good to borrow. Nobody says you shouldn't borrow money. It's good to borrow. But at the end of the day, when you borrow too much and you don't use it for the purpose for which you're supposed to use it for, and it is not invested in areas of growth which are generating money, or it has largely, a significant percentage of it has been mismanaged, the day of payment will come where we all face the music. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, these factors have contributed. Let's look at the stabilization fund, which people came and met. Where is it? Wouldn't that have been good for us for a rainy day when we were desperate? Are you with me?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this with respect to this government alone.
Yeah.
Even the two funds that Atamil set up from the oil, what happened to them? Before they even went out of power, people started sucking from them into the main economy.
Exactly.
And if those things are kept for a rainy day, are you with me?
Yeah.
When we have problems, then we can bring them in. And that is why we are saying in this document that we will work to generate a sovereign fund, a sovereign wealth fund. And that sovereign wealth fund will primarily be generated from ensuring that we have a greater percentage of our natural resources. We will no longer be accepting 3%, 4%. No. We have to have at least 30%. Are you with me? So that will increase our wealth, and we can put that money aside so that when we go into stormy weather, we know where we are going to get our support from.
Okay.
Or when we have opportunities to invest in new areas, we can, even if we don't have the technology and the skills, we can go and hire somebody to build it. Are you with me?
Exactly.
And then when it's done, we will pay
the person and just...
But you cannot go and get your blocks, etc., get a mason to build a house, and then you become a tenant in the house.
No. Your background is agriculture.
Of course.
Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so because of time, I want us to focus today on the agriculture. That's 1.3, page 29.
Yes.
The new agricultural revolution. This government has instituted or initiated many policies just to deal with the agric issues. One of them is termed the Planting for Food and Jobs. That was part one. And I think the new agric minister, Honorable Brian Agyapong, has also launched the part two. Are you impressed with the way the policy has gone so far?
Yeah. One of the problems we have had with our agricultural sector is not tackling agriculture comprehensively. We tackle it in piecemeal. And sometimes we reduce it to projects. Are you with me? A government may come and they will be concerned only with one project. Agriculture covers forestry, fisheries, crops, animals, and agro-industries. Are you with me? So one project alone cannot solve this whole area. On top of that, agriculture is the one sector that is interconnected with all the other sectors.
Exactly.
Roads, it is there.
Yes.
Markets, it is there. Transportation, it is there. Health, it is there. If you're not healthy, you can't work on the farm. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Education, if you're not well educated, you cannot evolve your agriculture.
Exactly.
So the interface of agriculture with other sectors has to be managed very carefully if the agriculture is to evolve. And I don't like using these big words because sometimes people don't understand them. But what we mean is that it is going to change from one thing to another. It's going to transform. And that's why we use the word transformational change.
Okay.
Because if you are just changing, but you are not changing from one level to another, then you are just, it's like a baby growing without becoming an adult. Are you with me?
So, where are you going to?
Yeah. So what we are saying in our agriculture is that we have to handle it in such a way that we evolve it from where it is now into another form. And that means that we must deal with it comprehensively, and we must target the key things that hold it back, both at the input level, in terms of cost of finance, access to inputs, infrastructure, mechanization, but also access to markets, and also our trade policy. Now, those affect our transaction costs, and they also, to a large measure, determine whether our farmers can be competitive or not. You go to any container here, just along this road of yours, tomorrow just try it. Go to all the containers. Just see all the varieties of rice that are there and pick out the ones made in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Hardly any. Why? One container after another. So if you're not even in the shop of a container, how can you compete? Are you with me? And the farmer who is growing here and is not in the shops, how is he competing? It means that he's getting farm gate prices, and those farm gate prices are not going to take you anywhere. And you cannot then reinvest in your farm to go to the next level. So that evolution will not come. You understand what I'm saying? On top of that, you look at in the market, the competition that you have. If your cost of capital starts off at around 30%, 28%, then your neighbor has cost at 6%, 8%. How are you going to compete with him? You have even lost the race before you have started. Are you with me? If we have fuel costs, the fuel that the Uber driver is driving in is the same fuel you're putting in that big tractor to be plowing soil at the same cost. Are you with me? How are you going to compete? And then by the transportation, before you bring the goods to the market here, most of the shops have already been filled with foreign goods. So the import substitution is not working. And it all comes down to enhancing our productivity and also ensuring that we improve our access to markets.
How do you enhance your productivity?
You see, the productivity has two different levels. You have on-farm productivity. That's to say, yield per unit area, that we can improve the yield for the same amount of land. Are you with me? And that includes improved seed, all those things, fertilizer management, and all those things that we talk about. Are you with me? The other productivity comes from economy of scale, where as you scale up, it allows you to use other mechanized functions so that you are able to expand the farm and get a bigger income. And then you are able to make investments for additional technologies that will even be more productive. And even some of your labor, the use of your labor, will also be more cost effective. So those others are there. Then you have your access to markets. Imagine somebody, he produces 3 tons, just 3 tons of maize. You and I know, because we have come from villages to Accra here. But in our village, when you go to the farm in the morning, it's at least 5 kilometers away, 3 kilometers away, the nearest one. Are you with me? So now let's say that you have harvested and you have got 3 tons. It's in the bush. You have to walk with it. When you're going to the airport, don't they tell you that 30 kilos is the maximum? You know why? Because it will affect your body, your spine. So let's say that the woman cannot carry more than 30 kilos, and you have 3 tons of maize. Divide 30 by 3,000, 100 trips.
So, Doc, what would the Alliance, given the opportunity, do to deal with this particular issue?
We have to tackle those challenges on farm, are you with me? Improve feeder roads, track roads to farms, and improve the feeder roads between the districts and the first markets, and put in equipment. For example, you could use these motor kings, lease them out to young men, north, east, and south of the village. Bring those things out for the villagers and charge a little money.
But Doc, it's happening.
Oh,
it's happening elsewhere. Maybe not on a large scale.
Not in a measure. You see, you have to concentrate on it. Are you with me?
Deliberate.
To make sure that you get a higher bulk of the goods moved out. Because so much, up till now, we are still talking about 30% of losses in post-harvest. So if we're talking of productivity, that's where you have to start. Don't plant more. If you're losing 30% of what you have already harvested, why don't you get that one instead of planting more?
That makes
That's
a
the
lot of
point I'm
sense.
trying
Yes,
to make. Okay?
yes.
So let's use those farm track roads and small equipments to bring that what we have harvested out of the farms. Already that's a 30% gain. And then get them to the first rural markets. The second thing is value addition.
Okay.
You know, we have been talking value addition, value addition, value addition. It's part of improving markets. If you have a product that is not going, but you add value to it, you will get a market for it. Are you with me?
Doc, what is value addition?
Value addition is just transforming the produce from its basic form to the next secondary stage. For example, I have rice paddy.
Okay.
Are you with me? If I mill it, I've added value to it.
Yeah.
Now I can eat it.
Yes.
But you've never seen anybody who has harvested rice and starts eating the paddy. Are you with me? And that is a problem because a lot of people who harvest rice, unless somebody buys it from them, they can't sell it to anybody.
Why?
Because they don't have problem with maize. Why? Because they can eat it immediately.
Yes.
Are you with me? Everybody can eat it.
Yes.
But with rice, you have to mill it. And if you don't have a mill to do it, you have to pound it. When you pound it, you break it.
Yes.
Are you with me? So it's very important to have that second chain to add value. And it's important that that infrastructure is deep in the rural area.
And Doc, you think this you are saying is not happening?
It's not
Have you
happening
checked?
because, you see...
Have you checked?
Oh, I know. I'm not saying it's not happening at all.
Okay.
How we are proposing for it to happen is that we have to have these agroecological parks.
Okay.
And these things are not happening because somebody is doing, the mill is over there, somebody is planting over there. We need to bring them together. And that is why we've asked that we do these agroecological parks where the processing, the production, are you with me, will all be in an enclave. And that is a deliberate infrastructure investment
Okay.
that will make it happen more in that area. Now, at the moment, if you have money, you will not take your mill over there. You want to stay near Accra and ask for the byproducts to do other things with it, which also defrays some of your costs. But if we have an integrated mill over there, we are doing rice, we're doing corn, we're doing soya bean, etc. Within that compound, even the byproducts alone, we combine it and make poultry feed. And that gives us more value, it gives us more productivity. So at the end of the day, by having these agroecological parks in key areas, we'll be able to take that problem away. And we will give investment, low-cost investment, low single-digit interest rate for those people to manage those things.
Doc, where would the money come from to give these monies to the people?
Well, I think the first thing is that we have said already that, number one, we are going to strengthen and stabilize the economy. What do we mean by this? Where we have deliberate use of CDs to chase dollars, we will change that so that the dollars will chase the CDs.
Where we have deliberate
use. For example, we have our cocoa.
Yeah.
We grow it here.
Good.
So why should we go and borrow money in dollars to come and buy it? Let's liberalize the cocoa market enough that people here can buy the cocoa, bring it to the trading floor, are you with me, and and the dollars will come there and take it. Let's not put it on the burden of Cocoa Board to go and find that money and bring it. Are you with me? So that is one measure that we can take immediately. Also, we can increase the income that we get by making our port a free port. Are you with me?
Oh.
Right now, you are sitting here. Somebody is driving in the night to Togo to go and take his car out of the port there and bring it here to Ghana to drive it. Why? Because it's cheaper. It's a free port. And our port is bigger, and we have got two of them. So why can't you make Ghana a free port, our Tema a free port, so that we can get more through-flow volume here, and we will get more income from it, because Burkina, Niger, etc., they will rather come here because we have better infrastructure services here. So that's another area. Even the process of getting the goods out of the port, where you have, all these small taxes on top of each other, etc., crash all of those, consolidate them, and make it simple. and also reduce the time that you spend in the port. So the damages will go down. Sometimes somebody will be waiting for tax exemption. The amount of demurrage you pay is even more than the tax exemption you're going to get.
But
So,
there's been some form of improvement at the ports with
Yeah,
the introduction of the paperless system.
to some extent, but
Yeah.
you can make, you see, you can make it at a bigger scale. And that is the problem. One of the problems we are saying, are you with me?
Yeah.
Is that our attitude to tackling problems is always these small, incremental gains, which are overtaken by events, and you're back where you started. So we've got to go for big gains, are you with me? That change and transform the situation. So these are the measures that we are talking about, together with other measures we'll be taking in the economy to make sure that we drive money into growth areas to generate growth and also promote enterprise. Now, one of the key things you'll notice in this document is that we said enterprise economy. What do we mean by an enterprise
What do you mean
economy?
by that?
You know that we started with Stone Age. Then we went to Iron Age, are you with me? And Bronze Age. And then we came to the Industrial Revolution. Then we went to information technology.
Yeah.
Now, we're in the age of entrepreneurship.
Now.
So the people who are making money now, they don't pound things or make things, etc. They're people who are having entrepreneurial solutions to the problems that are faced by the billions of people in the world. So even if you're making only $1 from every person a day, you're making a lot of money.
Big money.
So those entrepreneurial solutions, that is the mindset that we want to give our younger people. That look, there's no more government job for you. As we are sitting here, we are trying to get our percentage of revenue that is spent on paying government salaries, who are only 2% of the population, and we're spending more than 76% of our revenue on them. We're trying to reduce that to 30. do you get my point?
Okay.
We have said we'll reduce that to 30.
You see, no, sorry. The question is how.
No.
We will do this.
Yeah, no.
We will do that.
I'm
but the how. Because I want to believe that if it were that simple,
Yeah.
various governments
Yeah.
would have, achieved that.
Oh,
so
but
my emphasis is on the how.
First of all, some of these policy changes, are you and me, require you to make the policy change and then implement it. Then the money that we need to come out of it, we have estimated what we will get from the free port. We have estimated what we will get from not, using syndication for the cocoa. We've also estimated what we will get in reviewing.
Is it here?
Yes.
Okay.
In reviewing some of the loans that we have, the terms that we have given to people investing in the natural resource play to get 30% of the share for us. So that will be added income that will come in.
Okay.
Then each of the areas, in agriculture, we have the interventions of the agro parks we've talked about. In other areas, are you with me? We have specific interventions which are all packed together so that they support each other.
Okay.
We don't want to be doing things as stand alone. You understand? So we have said here, look, if you look at this,
which page?
For example, if you're talking about business regulatory reform, are you with me? We established a comprehensive program to ease doing of business in Ghana, covering the following areas: securing permits, licenses, getting access to this, having one-stop centers, public constitutional portal, regulatory impact assessment, rolling regulatory review, targeted regulatory reliefs. Then you go into the tourism sector, improving tourism infrastructure, facilitation support for the promotion of tourism, funding and financing of tourism.
Good.
Now, some of these issues mean also that in terms of the total economy, we have to take a step back and ask ourselves a very basic question. We have been on this IMF World Bank track for so long.
Yeah.
Is that the only source of money in the world?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good
are
question.
there other sources of money? And are there other sources of money that can allow us the space to grow at the pace we want to grow here? So we will have to realign ourselves. You understand? And take those, policy decisions that ensure that we're correctly aligned in the global space to seek the kind of investment that will help us to grow this economy at the pace we want it to grow.
Okay.
But the important thing is that across the sector, both in tourism, in terms of also looking at the governance cluster, cutting the waste in terms of corruption, we have said that we will be very strong on the issue of ensuring that we recover most of the properties that have been sold to people, are you with me,
Okay.
without due process, and also which have been orchestrated to benefit a few at the expense of the many.
Okay.
We have also been very clear that where there are clear instances where deliberate financial loss has been caused, there will be punitive measures taken. We don't have a track record. Are you with me?
Okay, yes.
And so we can take those decisions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are also looking at other positive things. What can we do in terms of local government?
Look, our time is almost up.
Yes.
Yes.
But there's one thing that I think I should mention.
Yes. Kindly do.
Because, there are a lot of areas
Yes.
in terms of governance. We need to look at the possibility of reducing the total numbers of ministers to less than 40. This country has been run with only about 29 ministers before, and it worked very well. So we don't.
But the numbers were not like this. The population was not like this.
Yeah, but if you go by population, then you would have more ministers. Some other countries have more population than you, but they don't have the number of ministers you have. So that is not a direct correlation. But the key thing that we're saying is that we will cut costs in the public sector, constrict governance. The cutting ministers is only one thing, but also the architecture of local administration to make sure that we deepen decentralization right to the grassroots level. It will not be hanging somewhere in the district level. We'll go all the way to the grassroots level so that we have investments there, and that is a way of engaging more of our National Youth Service in offices there that will be involved in projects that and private companies that will be set up there.
Okay.
And then in terms of consensus and cohesion at the national level, we want to have a second chamber that will bring all the stakeholders, key stakeholders in the country together. They will be there by representation.
Okay.
We're talking about the religious group, the students, the trade unions, workers, teachers, marketing people, chiefs as well. Thereby, in other words, your group should elect you to be there.
That's
for a tenor.
Okay.
You understand?
Thank
so
you.
That will then act as a second chamber.
Thank you. Doc, all too soon, time is fast spent. Looking at the membership, the names you mentioned, one will say that some of them have had the opportunity of serving in other governments.
Who like who?
For instance, the Movement for Change, Honorable Agyapong, he was a trade minister.
Yes.
He was a trade minister during President Kufuor's time.
Yes.
And he was a trade minister until some few months, ago. One will say that they had the opportunity to also make serious impact, but that's not the issue. Your last words before
I think just quickly on that issue, and then my last word is simply that, look, the fact that a person has been able to establish themselves outside politics before they even got into politics, for us, is a good thing. Cool. Secondly, there is a limit to what you can do as a minister. You do not have an opportunity to set your table out, the architecture out for optimum gain. So there's a limit. I think people should bear that in mind. A lot of the people have not been anywhere in government before.
Okay.
Now, somebody will say, well, that means that they have no experience. But they may have other experiences in any case, if anything is to go by, we don't want experience in mismanagement. You know, the second thing that we want to say is that, look, this alliance is really for the youth of Ghana. And we're urging the youth to really take a look at this alliance, join in the alliance, ask questions, and fight for yourselves. Because at the end of the day, you know, the glaring issues that we have in terms of missed opportunities are there for everybody to see. So now it is upon each one of you to say that, look, it is our time. When Kwame Nkrumah and co were fighting for independence, some of them were only 20 years old. And they had little education. Now most of you are graduates. And you finish SHS. And some of you are 40 years old. So there's that opportunity now to join hands and make sure that we save this country at this time and restore it on a different path that works for all of us, and not just for a few of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michael Abu Sakara Foster. I hope I mentioned your name
right.
That
is
yes,
fine. That's fine.
We are privileged to have you here, and I'm sure looking at the document is quite huge. And I'm sure we may have another opportunity to move into the other areas. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. God bless you.
Thank you.
Although for Dr. Abu Sakara senior obia enimuno na yene no atwetwe enkommo ewo the seat so abecheche Alliance for Revolutionary Change almost say almost pese ma Ghana for another alternative from MPP NDC. There should be another alternative inti nyema almost pese de gu akwan ma memene o ye don ni omu na and the doc abecheche mu kakra e do so de ye behwe se brefu from yebinya emrena yene no asan atoa so a edamasi bebi ma mendane me honje aboafo enkrato na memra sisi a